Hi guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be very exciting for me and I hope for you guys too because it's going to be my introduction to my new project Pan That palette for 2022. I am very excited because I have finished my Pan That palette for a while now and I've kind of been missing having a palette that I'm working on. And so I am just excited to share with you guys the palettes that I picked. Typically, oh, the heater just went on, so I hope you guys are okay with that. I hope it's not too loud. But typically, I always have two palettes that I use every year. That's kind of been my aesthetic just because I find regular large eyeshadow palettes very intimidating. I did do one year, the year that I did my Minnie Mouse by Sephora or Sephora by Minnie Mouse. I always get confused how it goes, but it was a huge eyeshadow palette that had 15 shades, I think, and I found it very overwhelming. And it wasn't even, I had already started that palette, like I had several pans empty, and it took me all year. I did finish it, but it was very overwhelming. So I always rather have two smaller palettes, and that helps me kind of be motivated throughout the year. For the most part, I have done a face palette, which is a combination of eyeshadow palettes, eyeshadow shades, and face products, and then a smaller eyeshadow palette. And so I decided to keep going this year with that tradition and do two palettes. I'm going to start first. I feel like people are not gonna be excited about these, but I am. The first one that I'm gonna be starting on is my face palette. And for 2022, I am going to be focusing on this palette right here, the Urban Decay Naked Skin Shapeshifter. This is a face palette and it has cream shades and powder products. So the first side that I'm going to show you guys is the powder product. It has a bronzer contour shade, which I always use, interchangeingly. I don't really contour and then bronze. I use the same product for both. And then a face powder and then a highlighter. These don't have names, and I think, I don't know, for some time I thought this was Sin, the highlighter Sin, but I don't know, I have no idea. So that's what this looks like right here. And then for the cream side, I have these products right here, which is again a bronzer contour cream shade, then some concealers and color correctors here in the center, these three, and then this one is a highlighter. It's a cream highlighter. So the pens are a lot smaller, but they're cream shades, so they do take a little bit longer. So I am going, and then it has a mirror here, as you guys can see. You can't take it off, but I guess I could show you guys the product like this. So that is the first palette that I'm gonna be working on for 2021. Now that I have finished, when I finished my previous palette for 2021, I've been using like a compact for powder, a compact for blush, a compact for bronzer, and I'm like, this is so inconvenient. I am so used to having products that come like in a face palette where I have two or if not all the products in the same container, that I was like, this is such a pain in the butt to have like one little thing for each. So I am a fan of face palettes. I'm getting to the point where I'm really running out of face palettes. In 2021, when you guys see my year of makeup empties, you guys are gonna see I went through a lot of palettes. And so I am, maybe next year I should have done something where I'm focusing more on my singles, but I went with another palette. Another reason that I wanted to work on this palette is because not only is it getting up there in age, it does have these 5 cream products that I don't wanna let go to waste. I want to make sure I get my use out of them, and I figured, I should probably use these in my Partners in Cream for next year, but I figured why not get the whole palette in a project and get the whole thing out. It's not very bulky. I mean, it's pretty compact, but it's time that I use this, and you guys know Urban Decay is my favorite makeup brand. And for the eyeshadow portion of this project, I went ahead and I picked another eyeshadow palette that you guys have seen before. This is kind of on I think that's not really a rollover. I think I did show it in my makeup I want to use up in 2022, but it is the Sephora something palette, Pro Lesson palette. And it only has 6 eyeshadows, but technically 5 because I already used this one up. I used this one up last year, if I'm not mistaken. And as you guys can see, I already even hit pan on this dark brown shade. That's the shadow that I use for my brows. But I've already hit pan. I have a dip going here on this light brown, which is the shade that I use on my crease. And this one has a little bit of a dip because I did use this shade in a frankening. If you guys watched my Pan That palette for last year, you guys would have seen that I included this one when I frankened the shade. And then these two are fairly new. I've used them a little bit. I've been playing with this palette since I finished my other Pan That palette, and I like them. They're pretty shades, and it's a very neutral palette, kind of boring to the eye. Like, there's nothing really special about this, but it is winter right now. I do tend to gravitate towards these neutral shades in the cooler times. Once the spring and summer arrive, I do have a little bit more colorful shades in my makeup I want to use up in 2022. In case you haven't seen that video, I will try to link it down. I'm really bad at linking stuff. But like I said, if I want to use something more colorful, I can pick from those shades and incorporate them with the neutral shades that are in this palette. Another reason why I picked this palette was because this is so bulky and it has a lot of packaging, and for only 6 shades, like, if these pans were close together, I think the palette would be like up to here, and then if I didn't have the space in here, it would probably be like this big. So there's a lot of packaging here. There's no need for, the pans don't go all the way to the bottom here. So it's just a lot of wasted space. So speaking of trying to get bulky packaging out, I think this is a good one. I was trying to compare this to the Urban Decay by Gwen Stefani palette. And this one's a little bit like taller. So if you move like the little bit that's left here and you move it to this side right here, they would be about the same size. But that palette has, I think, 12 shadows, whereas suppose this one only has 6. So you can see how much packaging is being wasted here. Also, this is one of the oldest palettes in my collection, and this palette, I received a memory on my Facebook from a trip that I took 9 years ago, and that's the trip that I bought this in. So I know that this palette is at least 9 years old. Who knows how long it was in the store before then. But I'm surprised because this formula is still very, very buttery and soft. It does get like a lot of kick up, so I feel like that's gonna help me go through it a little bit faster. But that is what the palette looks like. I hope you guys enjoy going into this journey with me with my Pan That palette. I'm super excited to try these out, and that's it. That's where I'm gonna leave you guys for now. Let me know what you're panning for 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.